Utilitarianism is a normative theory that tells you what you should and should not do. And the thing that you should do, always, is the thing that produces the greatest good for the greatest number. Produces.
Let's say you want to find out if somebody did the right thing. You judge the consequences of the action. You can ignore completely why somebody did what they did. You can ignore their motivation. In other words, their intentions don't matter. When we're judging if somebody's action was right, we investigate the results of their action. What did the action produce? What are the consequences of the action? That's how you know if the action was right or wrong.
Utilitarians want to increase pleasure and decrease pain. Anything anyone can do to make that happen for the most people affected have done the right thing. Anything you can do, even if something looks like the wrong thing to do. Doing it is fine so long as it increases the most pleasure possible and decreases the most pain possible. Just think about it with me. There's an old lady, and she's rich. She's filthy rich, okay? Her grandson wants her to die. Why? So he can inherit all of her money. He puts poison in her pill bottle, from which she eats every day, and puts the pills in her purse just like how he found it. She's walking with her purse, and a man comes along, a bad man, steals her purse, hits her and steals her purse, takes her wallet out and throws the rest of the contents into a trash can. What happened? Well, this thief saved the woman's life because when he stole the purse, he stole the poison. Jeremy Bentham, the principle of utility, says this is the right thing. Thank heavens, so to speak, that the man came along and stole from her. The right thing for the thief to do is to steal her purse. Why? Because the most amount of affected people are the best off as a result of the action. So the principle of utility can justify rape, murder, stealing, lying, genocide, slavery, if an action leaves the most amount of affected people best off. It is the right action. Utilitarianism and the principle of utility could also be used to justify a ton of good things. For example, it's your cousin's birthday party, and they love, chicken.
Even if the cousin loves chicken and wishes to have chicken and it is their birthday, utilitarianism says that they should ask to have only tofu at their birthday party because you only like tofu and some other family members like salmon in addition to tofu. What do you all have in common? Tofu. What's best for everyone? Tofu. So even if the person who gets to decide wishes for chicken, the right thing to do considering what's best for everyone who is affected is for the cousin to ask for tofu.
Another theory that tells you to do whatever it takes to increase your happiness and decrease displeasure is hedonism, which tells you at always you should be seeking pleasure. Now, utilitarianism is kind of hedonistic, but it's not egoistic, where you're supposed to seek pleasure for yourself and avoid pain for yourself. Utilitarianism is telling you to seek pleasure and avoid pain for everyone. Do the greatest good when you're thinking about the most amount of affected beings possible.
According to Bentham, we can just do some mathematics, basically, and discover whether an action is good or bad, right or wrong. So you think about the possible consequences that can result from your action and who will be positively benefited, who will be negatively benefited, and then you just add them up. If it turns out that your action is mostly good for most of the people, then that's the right action. But notice he says that we're considering somebody's perspective. Notice that the principle of utility starts with you and includes everyone that you've selected for your moral community. In other words, it only concerns those that you're considering. Jeremy Bentham, Principles of Morals and Legislation, Chapter 4, Section 4. To a number of persons, with reference to each of whom to the value of a pleasure or pain is considered, it will be greater or less according to 7 circumstances. Who's doing the considering? Section 5. Begin with any one person of whose interests seem most immediately to be affected by it. So the person doing the considering, the person who we start with, is the one most affected. For any one person, that's themselves. Sum up all the values of all the pleasures on one side and all of the pains on the other. The balance, if it be on the side of pleasure, will give the good tendency of the act upon the whole with respect to the interests of that individual person. With respect to that individual person. Each person gets to decide who is in the moral community. And you do the act as you should, which will leave you the best off, increasing your pleasures, decreasing your pain, and anyone's pleasure or pain who you're considering. So the value of your action is determined by how good it is at increasing the pleasure and how good it is at decreasing the pain for you and everyone that you've decided.
Wait, how is it good that the old lady got robbed? I didn't quite catch that. Let's just add all the positives. The grandma never died, so no one was ever murdered. So the grandson didn't become a murderer. So he never got caught and went to jail. So the public never had to have their tax-paying money go to supporting his life in jail. And the thief got the grandma's money. All of those are pluses. Okay, what's on the negative side? That the grandson's scheme of stealing the grandma's life never happened. But that's outweighed by all the pluses. So it turns out good.
Unless you're the grandson with the poopy plan of murdering your grandma so you can get her money. Because then it would be bad that the thief stole her purse, thereby stealing the poison, and then she doesn't die.
And if in this case the cousin doesn't consider the pleasure and pain of the vegetarian or vegan in the family, then there is a way to follow the principle of utility such that the right order for the cousin to make for their birthday party is chicken and seafood.